Okay, here with Sam Stokes from Microsoft. We're in San Francisco at our winter conference in collaboration with the Mid-Pacific ICT Center. How you doing, Sam?
Great, Gordon.
Thanks. Now, this morning you gave a pretty interesting keynote, I think,
Thank you.
on Imagine Cup USA. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about that, what that is.
Yes, the Imagine Cup US is a part of an international contest that's run by Microsoft to get students of all ages, college students and lifelong learners, to work together and use software, web technologies to solve, well, let's take the 8 categories in the UN Millennium Goals. Now, the Imagine Cup bases its solutions that they're asking the students to consider on these Millennium Goals.
So what would be one of those goals?
One of the goals would be poverty and hunger. Some of the other ones would be maternal health, infant health, HIV, AIDS, malaria, environmental sustainability, economic partnership. And what this is to do is to bring together teachers and students so that worldwide we can work together on solving the issues that we face in the world today. And I'm very excited about it. I've seen this program really solve some of these, help solve some of these issues and bring students to a point where they're actually seeing how they can impact the world.
Now, give an example. You say you've seen some of these. What would be, can you give an example of some work that...
Yeah, one of my favorites, and that's a great question, Gordon. One of my favorites actually didn't win the international, but I think when you hear it, you're going to go, well, why not? And it's because of the quality of the entries. And this is from Cal State Long Beach. And Cal State Long Beach a few years ago, the students came up with a way to predict lotus swarms, which we don't worry too much about here in the United States. We have the lotus problem under control. But in third world countries such as Egypt and places like that, the swarms form, but they don't move that fast. And if you know ahead of time, you can make preparations to protect your crops from the lotus. And they created a microwave system. When the swarm swept through the radio transceiver system, it would detect it, and then it would send out a signal on the internet, and then people would be forewarned. And they worked with the UN, and they really, I thought, did a great job.
Yeah.
And they won the nationals, and they went to, I believe, South Korea, and did their presentations, but they didn't win in the international competition. But they had everything working, and it was very impressive. And imagine the saving of people by being able to save crops. Even in 1 year, you know, we're used to having lots of food in our stores, but some places you lose that crop, you don't have anything to eat.
You don't eat, yeah. So is this an application they developed?
Yeah, so they worked with Microsoft technology. We have a smartphone type of operating system called Windows CE, and it's an embedded system. It's a little more complicated than most software, and they were able to, that was part of their classroom project. They worked with some other groups to create the transceiver pieces, and they put everything together, and then they built the web application, and then the smartphone application tied into the web, and then utilized the transceivers.
So they were pulling real, sort of real-time information on
every one of them
where
went
the
off.
swarms were.
Absolutely. Well, every one of the members of the team went off to aerospace, and one of them, I think, is a director level now. And this is only over 4 or 5 years now.
Wow.
So it's a really awesome way to improve a student's resume very quickly, and really helps build community at the community colleges.
Now, if somebody wanted to get, somebody's watching this and they want to get involved, and maybe they're in California, or maybe they're from another part of the country, how would they get their students involved? Okay,
the first thing they want to do in California would be, well, in any place, would be to go to http://imaginecup.us. Now, they don't want to use the search engines because that'll take them to the international site. They want to go to the .us site. Now, we're connected to the international site, but to get all the goodies, you want to go through the US site. But to answer your question specifically, there are 12 or 14 people like myself in the United States, first of all, they wanted to maybe communicate with me or contact the imaginecup.us and say, you know, we would like Sam, a person like me, to come by the school to chat with them, and I could be there, or we can hook up over the internet, and I'd be happy, but I frankly would be happy to use a system we have at Microsoft called Live Meeting, no cost to the community colleges, to work with the students to get them involved.
That's great. That's great. Now, your email address, you know, we'll post it up.
That's good. Yeah.
We'll post it up on the screen here,
Right.
so people can contact you if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great. I think there's a lot of opportunity at the community colleges. It sounds like there is for this competition. So
There is a lot of opportunities for the community college student to improve their resumes. There's the example project. Let me just take a few seconds here, Gordon. The project I talked about was at one end of complexity. So the Imagine Cup has a spectrum of complexities. So there's a very easy one called the media, digital media. Do a video, edit it, post it. You might win a trip to Poland to present your application to the SDI software design competition. And that one can be very, very complex. As an example, there's maybe a student team that has solved some problems with ground radar at airports that's going to be being involved with the contest. That's a very complex solution. So don't compare. And by the way, I think I told you about Rio Hondo Community College.
yeah, maybe you could
Yeah,
talk
so
about
let
that
me,
story.
just a few seconds here. So one of the community colleges in the California system actually participated last year and sent more student teams than any other school. In fact, more than any other of our regions, as we say in Microsoft, to the national contest. 4 teams. This is really unheard of. This is one community college, very passionate professor that did it. And the winner of the national last year was Piedmont, which is the largest community college in the United States with 40,000 students, I think. So it's not about community college, and we're getting more participation by schools like USC, but community colleges really can bring a very diverse type of intellect to play in this. And to me, the Imagine Cup is one way that we can get out there and really solve some of these pressing world problems.
Now, let me ask you another question. Another question comes to mind. Is there any specialized? What's involved? What do I? Let's say I'm teaching a class. I would. What am I going to need to compete as far as hardware and software goes?
Okay, all the software is available through Microsoft, either through the Microsoft Developers Network, Academic Alliance, or MSDNAA.
Okay.
Or the students can access the software needed through DreamSpark. So all the software is free to the students. Now, that's for the software design and maybe for the game design. Now, the game design can be accessed completely for free by anybody through C# Express, which is a free download, Game Studio, which is a free download, and they could develop their games using that. Or Silverlight, which can be accessed through Visual Web Development. Then there's the web design, which is just using web design tools. So again, you could use the Visual Web Developer, which is free through the Express program, or Expression, which is free through MSDNAA or DreamSpark.
That's great. So everything's free, basically. You need a computer and to run it on, obviously. But
right, and the easiest one to work with, well, at least to me, but I mean, when you're doing videos, there's a different kind of complexity. To do videos, you can submit the digital media, and then you can use just about any tool as long as you submit it in the correct format. So this is a wide, very diverse group, and some of these are not very widely subscribed to. So often, the easiest ones are the ones less subscribed to. So, you know, a student really would want to go to imaginecup.us, and they don't have to have a professor or teacher working with them. They can simply go and do it themselves. So a professor, unfortunately, often at community colleges, they'll look at it and go, well, I don't think my students can be involved with this. But I can tell you, I have seen it. The students' excitement and abilities, they just explode and it's a wonderful thing to see.
Excellent. Well, that's good. We do have great students at community
Yes, you
colleges.
do.
It's great to hear you say that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time, and thank you for coming to the conference. And
Yep. No problem. Thank you very
excellent.
much for
sharing your facilities this morning and tomorrow morning also. It's beautiful.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks a
Gordon.
lot.